I would have never in a billion years, like, if you had told past me that a female basketball player would be wiping the floor with the biggest stars in the NBA, I would have never believed you.
The detractors hoped that the Caitlin Clark effect would subside. I have some unfortunate news for them. It's just getting started. If my understanding of the story is accurate, Caitlin Clark is breaking records and will undoubtedly rule in 2026. CEOs of big name are staking millions on it. Let's discuss what just took place. Here's the news that inspired me to create this video because it's completely crazy and exemplifies the Caitlin Clark effect, that is, how she can dominate without the WNBA or even being on a court. The group that rates trading cards and establishes the benchmark for the whole collectibles sector, PSA, has published their 2025 data. Additionally, Caitlin Clark emerged as the world's most collected active basketball player. LeBron James, the face of basketball for 20 years, was defeated by her. The man with the all-time scoring record, 4 titles, and 4 MVP awards. While sitting on the sideline with an injury, she defeated every NBA player currently in the league. However, it becomes much more bizarre. A map displaying the top-ranked active athletes per state was provided by PSA. Additionally, it's not even close in the basketball category. This is Clark country. More people than anyone else are submitting Caitlin Clark cards to be assessed in almost every state in the United States. And the figures support that. In 2025, she received 3 of the top 10 overall grades. All sports, not just basketball. But hold on, there's more. Caitlin was the 6th most collected basketball player in 2024. Despite missing the majority of the season due to injuries, she stormed to the top in 2025. Ryan Hogg, the president of PSA, made it quite obvious. Only the best athletes exhibit this level of momentum in their hobby. This is no longer about basketball. This relates to cultural phenomena. This has to do with icon status. You've surpassed the sport itself when you can control the collectibles market while watching games from the sidelines. This explains why major entities in the world are placing enormous wagers on Caitlin in 2026. Millions of their own dollars are at stake, and Nike is at the center of it all. This is what's happening in the background. Nike has been having a lot of difficulties, as you are undoubtedly aware. Their stock price had dropped by over 60% since 2021 as of May 2025. We are discussing Bleeding Value, one of the most well-known brands in the world. Some claimed that Nike had lost its inventiveness, its quick ball, and the progressive outlook that had once elevated them to the top of the sportswear industry. Companies that were non-existent 10 years ago were gaining market share. Nike appeared outdated, sluggish, and out of touch. Then there was the issue with Caitlin Clark's distinctive shoes. The fans were furious. In 2025, they want her shoe. It didn't occur. A'ja Wilson was the first to receive her signature shoe. People were wondering, why is Caitlin the biggest draw in women's sports, not getting her shoe since she's clearly the one everyone wants to buy, despite the fact that A'ja is the league's most dominant statistics player. It didn't matter if A'ja's shoe was given precedence, if there were production problems, or if Nike was simply moving too slowly. It was perceived as just another instance of Nike making a mistake. Another indication that Nike has lost interest. However, this is what's currently going on behind the scenes. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, one of the most valuable firms in the world, purchased 50,000 shares of Nike stock on December 22, 2025. Risky investments are not necessary for Tim Cook. For the remainder of his life, he could live comfortably on cash and treasury bonds. Someone at that level knows something when they invest their own funds in a failing business. They've noticed something. They are confident because they have done the study. Elliott Hill, the CEO of Nike, is another. At the end of 2025, he purchased almost $1 million worth of Nike stock. Consider that. The CEO is placing a wager on his own business. You wouldn't do that unless you knew something significant was about to happen. You wouldn't purchase $1 million worth of stock if you were the CEO and you knew your firm was going to fail. You're making a sale. You're leaving and will most likely be prosecuted for insider trading. Elliott Hill, however, is purchasing. Hill disclosed that Nike's North American business increased by 9% to $5.63 billion in the most recent fiscal quarter during a recent business call. 9% expansion. The resurgence is beginning after years of decline. It is demonstrated by the numbers. And what's causing it? The iconic shoe of Caitlin. Caitlin joined Travis and Jason Kelce on the New Heights podcast on December 31st. And she made a statement that ought to have caught the interest of every basketball fan, investor, and sneakerhead.
I'm like, man, I wish these things grab better. I wish they had a different mold on the bottom of them. Like, were you super involved in that process as well?
Yeah, for sure. And like, obviously I'm pretty like picky about what I wear. Like I like a certain two Kobe models. So like I knew whatever I was going to put in my own shoe, it need to be like the equivalent of that technology or even better. And it's going to be even better. I'm not going to say exactly what it is because I think it'll get people excited.
Yes, it is correct. New technologies will be available specifically for Caitlyn. You may be sure that it will cause haters' heads to blow up. With Nike releasing a Christmas ad that inspired the From Anywhere slogan, the marketing machine is stepping up. What makes Caitlyn unique may be summed up in 2 words. This is no longer a slow roll. Nike is fully committed. In 2026, the shoe will be released. The exact date is yet unknown, but it will happen soon. And this is what we are aware of. Putting their money where they speak, 2 of the world's most astute CEOs are doing just that. The ceiling of Gainbridge Fieldhouse will be blasted off when she really returns to the court, and the persistent notion that the W's success is due to anything other than Caitlyn will be destroyed. Allow me to illustrate what transpired in May 2025 of last year. In a preseason exhibition against an obscure Brazilian national team, Caitlyn dressed up for her first game in 6 months. This wasn't a legitimate game. This was a tune-up and a scrimmage. In a matter of minutes, she sold out Carver Hawkeye Arena. Additionally, there was so much excitement that ESPN chose to broadcast the game nationally. Once more, this is an exhibition game for the preseason. There were 1.3 million viewers. In comparison, an average of 1.5 million people watched the 2025 WNBA Finals. It is important to remember that the new Nielsen ratings technique takes into account millions of more devices and streaming platforms. A Caitlyn Clark preseason game probably outdrew the WNBA Finals since those figures are inflated when compared to games played earlier in the 2025 season. When Caitlyn takes the court in 2026 with her new shoes on, the entire Nike marketing apparatus behind her, and a full off-season of hype building, the viewership will be enormous, and we will finally witness the true impact of those inflated Nielsen ratings. 2.7 million people watched her season-opening match against the Sky in 2025. That was with the previous approach. I'm going to make a prediction now based on the new approach, the Nike shoe launch, and the story of her injury recovery. In her return game, she attracts more than 5 million viewers. If you think I'm over or under, please let me know in the comments. The problem is as follows. Every game involving Caitlyn will be shown nationally thanks to the new media rights agreement. The networks won't take the chance of losing out on such figures. She has a televised appointment. She's a must-watch on TV. Casual fans watch because of her. What does all of this demonstrate about Caitlyn Clark? She is more than just a basketball player. She is a well-known cultural personality who is performing at a level seldom seen in women's athletics. Let's examine the proof. While hurt, trading cards dominated. Verify. The most valuable basketball player in America. Verify. The CEO of Apple is investing $3 million in Nike. Verify. The CEO of Nike is wagering $1 million on his own business. Verify. Unprecedented shoe technology that is revolutionary. Verify. She will save Nike and make it clear that she is the rightful owner of the W. They promised that it will subside. It didn't. They felt she would lose momentum if she missed a season. It didn't. The impact of Caitlyn Clark is just getting started. You're a winner for staying around, so if you're still here, leave a W in the comments. I appreciate you watching.